The time is now. All right, today we are ranking the top 5 Big 12 wide receivers. We go through each position each and every day. So we've put together our lists. We do not see each other's lists before we do this. So without further ado, 1 through 5, let's go. Who do you have at number 5?
Yeah, number 5 was a tough one, but I ended up with TCU wide receiver Jordan Dwyer, who transferred last year in from Idaho and finished second on TCU's roster in basically every single major receiving category. 54 for 730 and 7 touchdowns. He trailed, of course, the All-American and Eric McAllister. Jordan Dwyer had 3 games of 100-plus receiving yards, including a 136-yard debut against North Carolina, and caught at least 2 passes in every single game. With Eric McAllister now in the NFL, Dwyer is TCU's unquestioned wide receiver 1 after 2026. Plus, they've got Gordon Sammis and Jaden Craig and quarterback, so it'll be a whole new offense built around Jordan Dwyer. So I think it's a team that, returns second-best wide receiver after a 9-4 season. So his path to ballooned production is pretty clear into the 2026 season. And I think he's going to be one of the best receivers in the Big 12 this year.
A huge get for TCU in the portal last year because he's from the state of Washington, and he chose TCU over USC and Washington in the portal. I also have Jordan Dwyer.
Wow.
At number 5, the TCU wide receiver, very under-recruited out of high school from a small town, signs with Idaho, redshirts his first year at Idaho, and then he spends 3 years in Moscow, Idaho, getting his body ready. He was phenomenal on the field. He was an FCS All-American, had 1,200 yards at Idaho, and last year at TCU, even as the second option, to have almost 800 yards, 7 touchdowns, and he's more like their possession receiver, so he's going to have a ton of grabs this year. He still averaged almost 14 yards per catch, but also I look at the system that TCU is going to be running, and at UConn, when Gordon Sammis was there, they had Skylar Bell at receiver, who got drafted in this recent draft. That system is very much ground and pound, and then you zero in on your number 1 wide receiver. And so I just see Jordan Dwyer statistically having a monster year in Fort Worth. So I've got him at number 5 as well.
My number 4 is the Oklahoma State transfer wide receiver Wyatt Young. Young put up elite numbers at North Texas in 25. 70 receptions, 1,264 yards, 10 touchdowns. Production that ranked him among the top 15 wide receivers nationally in receiving yards. And, of course, he follows Eric Morris and Drew Mestemaker from North Texas to Oklahoma State. And that connection obviously has him is the main reason why he's in my top 5. A quarterback who knows the type of routes that Wyatt Young likes to run and a coach that likes to call those routes, with a running back as well from North Texas. So much familiarity here. It's a reason why Wyatt Young is 4th on my list.
This is where our lists start to deviate. I may or may not have Wyatt Young at some point, but at number 4, I have Danny Scudero. Transfer from San Jose State, headed to Colorado. Slot receiver, only 5'9", $185. 3-star recruit who originally played at Sacramento State. He was an FCS All-American. Then he transfers to San Jose State, where he exploded. Led the nation in receiving yards and yards per game. 108 yards per game this past season. 1,300 yards. And I know it's going to be his first Power 4 season, and he's got a young quarterback in sophomore Julian Lewis. But in that go-go offense that Brendan Marion's bringing to Boulder, I see him excelling in that with his elusiveness, his route running, his quickness. I think he shines. So picked Colorado over a lot of high-profile programs, and Dion, Coach Prime, compared him to Julian Edelman, who was pretty good too. I've got Scudero at number 4.
Yeah, I have Scudero at number 3. The redshirt senior from San Jose State has been an absolute machine. 88 for 1,291 last year in 10. He was the Mountain West's leading wide receiver and ranked among the top 20 nationally in receiving yards. He was also a finalist, for the wide receiver award. Why am I forgetting what the name of
Biletnikoff.
Thank you, the Biletnikoff. And look, I think when you look at Colorado, there's elements of this team that are completely rebuilding, but you look at the quarterback and wide receivers, and it feels like with Scudero and DeAndre Moore and Cree Thomas, that Colorado's passing offense could take a huge step forward this past year. Scudero for me, number 3.
Number 3 for me, I should say. This is where I go with a returner, Amari Thomas from Houston.
Wow.
Too low?
Interesting.
6 foot, 205, senior. Really good high school player from Birmingham, Alabama. He commits to UAB as like a 17-year-old kid. He's still really young for his class, but first team All Big 12, a Phil Steele All-American, honorable mention. He was on the Blitnikoff Award watch list this past year and had almost 1,000 yards in a somewhat pedestrian offense, at least schematically. 12 touchdowns, most touchdown catches in the Big 12 this past season. Had a huge game against West Virginia with 100 yards on 10 grabs and 3 scores. He's big, he's physical. Had a really nice year at UAB. Drew interest from Utah and Oklahoma State and Clemson before ultimately choosing Houston. A hidden gem last year in the Big 12. Now he's very much on everybody's radar. I've got Thomas at number 3.
Number 2 for me is the Arizona State transfer wide receiver Omarion Miller from Colorado, 6'2", 205 pounds. Led Colorado in receiving with 45 catches for 808 yards and 8 touchdowns. When you think about what Colorado dealt with last year at the quarterback position, given what he put up, it's pretty remarkable. He had 17.9 yards per reception. So he's one of the most efficient deep threats in the conference, and especially, again, considering the quarterback situation in Colorado last year, the numbers he put up are insane. Plus, with the loss of Jordan Tyson, Omarion Miller fits right into that spot. He arrives along with Reed Harris as the 2 primaries to fill in the void in the passing game. So I just think Omarion Miller is maybe the most underrated player heading into the Big 12 this season. That's why he's number 2 on my list.
This is where we have another hit. I have Omarion Miller at number 2 as well, the Arizona State wide receiver who averaged 120 receiving yards per game in high school, where they don't throw it as much. He was originally from Louisiana. Man, he's been a real journeyman. Like, he committed to LSU, then he flipped to Nebraska, then he lands at Colorado when Deion Sanders is hired, and then he transfers to Arizona State. But he's coached by Hines Ward. I think he's going to make him a better blocker and really develop him into a first-round NFL draft pick. To have 800 yards with a rotation at quarterback this past year and 8 touchdowns. But the big key number for me is he averaged 18 yards per catch, which was top 20 nationally, number 1 in the Big 12. He also had 11 catches on contested targets, which was top 4 in the Big 12. He's a big physical, kind of built like Tyson, 6'2", 210, maybe even a little thicker than Jordan Tyson. I've got Miller at number 2. Who do you have at number
1? Coy Eakin? Is that? Who do you have at number 1? Who am I missing here? That's what I want to know. Number 1 for me is Amari Thomas, the Houston wide receiver. Career year last year, transferred from UAB. 67 for 966 and 12 touchdowns. First team All Big 12 honors. So for me, that's the big reason why he's number 1 on my list. Curious why he wasn't on yours. He ranked 5th in the Big 12 in receptions, 2nd in receiving yards, and tied for 1st in touchdowns with 12 touchdowns. So he's good in all 3 areas, the deep, the intermediate, and the short. And is just a returning piece for Connor Wegman that I think is huge in terms of a security blanket and a guy that, again, you can use all over the field. Amari Thomas for me, number 1.
So we have the exact same top 5, just in different order.
You have Wyatt Young.
Wyatt Young, number 1.
Wow.
And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
He played quarterback in high school. He's new to the wide receiver position. And Eric Morris told me he will be playing on Sundays when he was a backup as a true freshman. He led the nation in yards per route run. He is an exceptional route runner. He also forced 32 missed tackles. He's super elusive. 3-star recruit out of high school, was ranked barely in the top 2,000 nationally. But transferring to Oklahoma State with Drew Mestemaker, choosing Oklahoma State over Louisville and Michigan and Missouri. He had 1,300 yards this past season and 10 touchdowns. He had a 295-yard game against Rice, which was a conference single-game record. First team All-American, according to PFSN. Pro Football Focus gave him a receiving grade of 89.9, which was 3rd nationally behind only Jeremiah Smith and Mekhi Lemon. So he did things at North Texas, albeit against lesser competition, that puts him as a top 3 receiver nationally. Will it translate to the Big 12? We'll have to wait and see. But I think the familiarity with Morris and Mestemaker, he's a 1,000-yard guy in the Big 12 from day one. So I've got Wyatt Young at number 1.
I like it. I'm actually surprised we have the exact same top 5 in terms of the players in it, although we just have 2 the same, Amarian Miller at 2 and Jordan Dwyer at 5. Beyond that, though, our lists the exact same 5 players, so that's interesting. I thought there would have been more variety across the board. We missed Coy Eakin, was a big-time player, obviously, for Texas Tech, and a guy that maybe should have made the list. JoJo Phillips for BYU, another one that just missed my list. And then I'm going to give you some freshmen here. R.J. Mosley is a 4-star freshman out of Pittsburgh, California, going to Arizona. He's 6'3", 199 pounds, and he's a former track star. So, I mean, he recorded times of 10.9 in the junior 100 meters. So, I mean, 6'3", 200 pounds, and can run as a 4-star. I think he's a guy that will really pop year 1 of the Big 12 as a true freshman. Also, Baylor adds London Smith, a 4-star true freshman as well, who could factor in a big way. And then there's UCF. Maybe has 2 of the most underrated wide receivers heading into this season. UCF, for me, is the more I look at this, could be a team that could surprise. They've got Dwayne Thomas coming back. And then Tyron Horns is a 4-star wide receiver as well that they brought in as a freshman. So when you look at the quarterback and Barnett and then Thomas and then Horns, this could be a really good explosive offense.
Barnett, the quarterback from James Madison. Reed Harris, the Arizona State wide receiver, the transfer from Boston College, almost made my list. Trey Spivey is back for Arizona. He's their top returner. The thing with Texas Tech that I struggled with is like picking which guy is going to be the breakout receiver. Coy Eakin has done it every year he's been there. He's been super reliable, but he hasn't been the number 1 guy. It's been somebody else. Malcolm Simmons coming in from Auburn, really like him. Kenny Johnson had over 800 yards at Pitt. And then don't sleep on Micah Hudson. The 5-star, the highest-rated recruit in Texas Tech football history when they signed him. He hasn't delivered yet, but he was Sorsby's primary target in the spring game. If he's a starter, he's a guy that could have a breakout year. And then Draylon Miller at Baylor, who transferred from Colorado, just missed. Gavin Freeman was a really late addition in the portal for Baylor. Transfer from Oklahoma State. He led Oklahoma State in receptions this past year. He's a slot guy, only about 5'8", but super quick. And originally committed to Tennessee in the portal. Then decommitted before he signed. Ends up at Baylor, so he could be kind of that veteran presence for DJ Lagway. It was deep, but I do think there was some separation between the guys that we had and everybody else that we mentioned.
Yeah, well said. Should be really interesting to see, especially there's one more guy we haven't talked about. That's Trent Walker, the Oregon State transfer to Houston, who is a guy that put up 823 yards in 25 and 900 yards in 2024. 4 touchdowns over those 2 seasons. Also had 4 carries in 2024. So a active 6'2", 294-pound experienced receiver you're adding to the mix along with Amari Thomas, which is a big reason I think why a lot of people like Houston.
Well, then Oregon State had no passing game. They had a true freshman at quarterback who really struggled. And for Walker to do that, really impressive. Cam Pickett's back at KU. See their number 1 wideout?
I think so, yeah.
With Emmanuel Henderson gone.
A lot new at Kansas this year, so we'll see.
JoJo Phillips was a nice drop from BYU. He'll probably be their number 1 guy. He was maybe their number 1 guy last year before he got hurt. But then like BYU, Utah, Kansas State, West Virginia, all of those teams brought in a ton of receivers in the portal, but it was hard to separate, okay, who's going to be their go-to guy? Like who's going to be the breakout number 1 wideout for those schools, which is why I didn't have anybody from those programs in my top 5. All right, coming up next.
Who are we doing tomorrow? Running backs?
Did we do tight ends?
Yes.
Then yes. We shall do running backs tomorrow. Top 5 running backs in the Big 12. That'll be an interesting list.
Yes.
A lot of turnover there, too. He's Ari Timken. I'm James Westling. This is Big 12 Today. Don't miss our Big 12 Power Hour, a breakdown of Texas Tech is the team we're highlighting today. Post-spring season preview. It starts at 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Central Time. Still to come on the show, Kat Osterman, the softball legend, will join us to discuss Arizona State's shocking upset over Texas Tech, and the NCAA tournament is set in softball. But after this break, should I stay or should I go? Some NBA draft talk is coming up next.